Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to show you how to make this no-bake Russian dessert. It's called Kartoshka. Kartoshka in Russian means potatoes, so I guess because these cookies do look like potatoes. And some people say that this recipe was created by the bakers because they had a lot of cake scraps left and they wanted to use them, so they've used it to make this dessert. But if you watch till the end of this video, I'll tell you the real story behind this recipe. You will need 500 grams of sweet biscuits or vanilla wafers, 200 grams of butter that is softened, 200 grams of condensed milk, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, and this is optional, but I like to add 2 tablespoons of cognac or rum. Using a food processor, we need to break these cookies into really fine crumbs, or practically into flour. To these biscuit crumbs, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder and mix it all together. Now we need to prepare a cream base or glue that's going to bind our cookies together. We need to cream 200 grams of softened butter and cream it for about 3 to 4 minutes until it's pale yellow. Then we're going to gradually introduce to our butter condensed milk. And the reason we're doing it gradually, because you know butter is fat and milk is water, and oil and water don't mix. But if you add it gradually, your mixture is going to become very smooth and it will not separate. Our cream base is ready. Add about half of your cream base to your biscuit crumbs and start mixing it at first with spatula, and then we're going to start adding a little bit more, and when the mixture becomes much thicker, we're going to move on to our hands. At this point, you can add cognac or rum to this mixture. It's going to add a very nice flavor to the cookies, and keep mixing it until the dough forms into a ball. We're only going to start adding 1 spoon at a time of that cream base to our dough, and keep kneading it. And as soon as you could see that you can form a cookie out of it, you will stop, and then we'll let it rest for 20 minutes. To decorate our kartoshkas, we're going to make some buttercream. We're going to need 100 grams of softened butter, 300 grams of icing sugar, 4 tablespoons of milk, and some food coloring. I'm going to use pink for the roses and green for the leaves. In a mixing bowl, add your softened butter, and we're going to start creaming this butter until it's pale yellow. You know the drill. And just to let you know, this is a traditional recipe of American buttercream. It's not very difficult to make, but there are a couple little tricks that you need to know. So gradually start adding your icing sugar to the butter, and only add another spoon of the icing sugar until the first one is incorporated. And our mixture is going to look like a bunch of crumbs. But here it is, guys. Here's a little trick. If you add a little bit of milk to your buttercream, it's going to become smooth again. So just add 1 little tablespoon at a time. And as soon as you're happy with the consistency, you can stop. And it looks pretty good now. Divide your buttercream in half, and 1/2 we're gonna color very bright pink for our roses, and the other half we're gonna color green for our leaves. And you don't have to decorate your cookies, but that's how I remember them from my childhood. They had these little buttercream roses and leaves on them. Transfer your buttercream into a piping bag, a green one with the leaf piping tip, and a pink one with the star piping tip for the roses, and we're ready to make our cookies. Grab a little bit of that biscuit dough, and it depends on the size of the cookies you want. I kind of like them a little bit smaller, and some people like to make them round, some people like to make them oblong. I like to make them into little logs. It's just how I remember them from my childhood. So they looked like these. So just roll them and form them and make sure they're nice and smooth. And the dough is actually very pliable, so it's easy to make them into whatever shapes you want. And I've seen people even using some kind of molds to mold these cookies into different shapes, like flowers and hearts, whatever you want. I finished molding my kartoshkas, and I think they look pretty good. There's one little step we still have to do. We have to make them look like potatoes. And that's when we're gonna roll them in cocoa powder. And I don't add an icing sugar to it because I think they're already sweet enough. And look at these guys, they look like potatoes. Isn't it funny? You can pop your kartoshkas in the fridge just to help them set a little bit. And after that, put them in the liners and decorate them with buttercream. Just pipe a rose in the center and 2 leaves on the side. And that's exactly how I remember this dessert from my childhood. Yes, and I promised you the story. Did you know this dessert is not Russian? It was created in Finland in 19th century when a wife of a very famous poet had a guest over, and she had nothing but the sweet biscuits in her pantry. So she blended them into crumbs and then mixed them with butter and jam and formed them into these beautiful cookies. Yes, they're a little bit messy to eat, but you can always lick your fingers, right? And thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.